loves, welcome to Discover You podcast. This is a community where you can show up exactly as you are, learn, grow, and discover how to stand in the power of who you want to be. I'm your host, Shar. Welcome, and let's dive in and discover you. Hello. Welcome back to Discover You podcast. Today we're going to talk all about our feminine cycle, all about that time of the month, our period. We're diving into all of the girl topics about your cycle, how important it is to ensure that you're honoring your body, listening to your body, and taking care of it as we lead up to our period, also while we have our period. So just going to share some fun facts, some fun information, and just talk about all the trials and tribulations of being a woman, how empowering it is, but also how hard it can be sometimes. So be sure that you're following on the podcast wherever you're listening, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, if you're watching over on YouTube. And of course, be sure to hit me up on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere, you name it. All the links are down below. Join the Sharway crew. And with all that said, let's dive into today's episode on the Discover You podcast. All right, being a woman, what a beautiful, empowering, amazing, crazy thing that we get to exist in. Our bodies are so beautiful, they're so amazing, they're so incredible. And we also go through all these 4 phases of cycles throughout the month, which is something that I've really been tapping into, really been diving into, and I will share more about this and more about the 4 different cycle times. But specifically, I wanted to talk about your period week, your bleeding week, your menstruation week, whatever you want to call it. We're talking about that. I'm feeling called to it. It is on my heart. I'm moving into my bleed week. So I think that it's just a really beautiful space to share, to connect, to bring awareness to the energy in our body, and to just talk with each other and know that you're not alone in all of the feelings that you may be having during this time. And when I say feelings, I mean all of the insane PMS symptoms and crazy feelings that we get that occur every single month. So I know for me, the PMS is full blow. I become Jekyll and Hyde. I get breakouts, I get bloated, I get crampy, and all of these fun things just start to accumulate and occur in my body, and I become a totally crazy person, which is a ton of fun. So I started tracking my cycle probably, I bet you it's been almost a decade, if not longer, that I've been tracking when I get my period. But recently, in the last 5 months, I've been tracking every single part of my cycle. So the follicular week, the ovulation week, the period week, and goodness knows I can't remember the other one. It always slips my mind. But anyway, I have been tracking all of these things on the Natural Cycles app, which is incredible and amazing, and I'm highly recommending it. And I will actually share my link down below because it is seriously been a life changer for tracking your cycle, understanding your cycle, learning about your specific cycle, and how your body changes and your mood changes and your body changes throughout the month. So I've been doing this a little bit more heavily the last 5 months, and it's been so fascinating to see the changes in my body and understanding the week before I get my period, I go into PMS and I start to get cramping, I start to get sore boobs, I start to get different symptoms that arise, and the app actually starts to tell you, hey, you're probably going to get PMS in the next couple days, which is wild. You're like, thanks, I already knew I was becoming a crazy beep, but I didn't need to know, so it's you almost want to know, but you don't want to know. Which is the coolest part about the whole thing, is understanding that your body, your mood, your mindset, your mental stability all shifts because of this onset of your coming period, which is just part of being a woman. Is it the funnest part? Not necessarily. However, it is a very empowering part, which, we can talk all the way, through the night about how sucky PMS is and how painful periods are and how heavy and awful they might be. But I want to talk a little bit more about the beautiful part of our cycle and how it really can bring a lot of presence to our life, a lot of peace in our life. So again, something that I've always kind of known with a period, and maybe this is a new fun fact for you, is that when you actually have your cycle, when you are bleeding, this is a time that we should be nourishing our body. We should be resting. We should be caring for ourselves. We should be nurturing ourselves. It is so crucial because your body is basically expelling and cleansing and clearing out your womb space to be able to create life in the next month, to be able to have everything kind of reset and nature getting back to where it should be or where it wants to be able to reproduce. So there's something really incredible about the idea that we're cleansing, we're purging, we're releasing all of the things of the last month that has not served us, that we no longer need, and that we're getting a whole new energy reset and a hormonal reset, because it's not just about, you're not just bleeding, right? All of your hormones are being impacted. All of your energy and your emotion is being impacted. So this is like the true essence of being a woman, is all of these things. Our energy, our mood, our emotions, our body. That is the essence of what a woman is and what it feels to be a woman, empowered in our bodies and in our mind and our heart and soul. So something that I really leaned into is coming into this time where, I'm busy at work as it is all day. And then when you start to have your period, you're bleeding at work, you're in pain. I've started to realize that I can't push as hard. I can't be as focused as I normally am. I can't push as hard in work, in my workouts, in routine, in life, and all the things that we're doing. Like, it's just not energetically there. And for years, I felt like I struggled with this, where it was like, why can't I just like continue on as normal? And you still hear it in the like wellness community, that like you shouldn't have pain, you shouldn't have PMS, you shouldn't have sore boobs, you shouldn't have cramps and heavy periods. Like, you hear these things that people say, which makes me crazy, because it's like your body is going through such an energetic purging. How can you not have cramps? How can you not have a mood shift or a change? And it's deemed as this idea that like your hormones are out of whack, or like you're eating things that are not good for you, or like blah, 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 whatever these like hormone people say. I just personally think it's a bunch of absolute crap, and I'm just not on board and buying it, because I am one of the healthiest people that I know, and I take really good care of my hormones and my well-being. So sometimes it's just your reality to be in pain when you have your period and to be bleeding heavy and to have all these symptoms, and there's nothing wrong with that. So believe what you want to believe. That's just my personal opinion. Wellness, people that talk about that just make me very upset. We need to stop shaming ourselves for the fact that we have discomfort, we have feelings, we have emotions, we have pain, and start to allow ourselves to lean into the uncomfortableness in our body, lean into this essence of ourselves and be like, okay, this might only last a couple of days or up to 7 days, however long your cycle is. But it's okay to feel discomfort. It is okay to be less motivated. It is okay to not want to do anything. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm bleeding and I have a really heavy, crampy day, I just want to hang out on the couch and I want to nap. I want to watch Netflix. I just want to chill because my body is killing me. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's where we need to focus our energy, is like, okay, like this is what I'm experiencing and this is my reality and this is where we're going to live right now. And it's okay to live in that space. And I think the more that we can allow ourselves to feel that presence, feel that connection within ourselves, to be like, hey, this is what's happening. This is where I'm at. It opens up a whole other realm of creation and potential in our divine being, because we're honoring a part of ourselves that has to happen every month. So we're allowing this space for ourselves, for our body, for our divine energy. And what comes from that space when you go month through month and you allow space for yourself, you allow yourself to slow down, to not work as hard, to not push as hard, to shift your workouts, to not go out and sit through social event or interaction or get together. When you really allow space for yourself, there's this whole expansion that creates inside of you, and you might start to feel more creativity. You might feel a little bit more inspired to start, a new project, or to start a new craft, or to take up a new hobby, or to like research into something that you're interested in. You'll find that this time is full of creation and is full of inspiration. And that is like been my objective this entire year, is to lean into this time, to feel the experience, and to let creation pour in, because there seems to be this idea that it's like, oh, you have to be in pain, and we condition our mind into this scary place of like, oh, my period's gonna be the worst, and like I can't do anything, and like I'm in so much pain, and like everything sucks, and like the narrative and the story that we tell ourselves, when in reality it's such a sacred, beautiful time with yourselves. And yes, like you're hearing this and you're like, no, it's not, Shar. You're like bleeding through my underwear or my pad, or like leaking on my bed, or like all the gross things that go along with a period. Yeah, I don't like any of that either. And like that part of it's not so pretty. It can be. That's a harder thing to switch your mind on. But the entire experience of what you're experiencing in your body, emotionally, wherever you're at, there's a lot of beauty and a lot of grace we can give ourselves to just experience the experience. And it's not always going to be fun and pretty and glamorous and feel good. And like anything, this takes conditioning and time to be like, hey, I'm going to allow myself to just be, finding that presence. And we get so caught up and busy in life, and we're rushing and we're racing through things, and we're overstimulated with social media and overstimulated with everything, and the pressures on women to have a career, have a family, keep your house clean, da 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 da. The list goes on, right? All of that pressure is not serving us in our feminine energy. So your bleed week is a fantastic time to allow yourself to just stop and breathe and be in your body. And yes, I know for a lot of people this is not totally possible. I get that. I have a full-time job. I will have kids one day. So like life changes and shifts. However, there's always moments where you can do less to nourish yourself more. And that's really the goal of what we want to get to, and where we kind of want to strive to support ourselves and to feel in our body and to find that presence. So I really kind of just wanted to like share a little bit of where my journey's been and what I try to do each bleed week and throughout, every single month, is really letting myself just exist in this situation, even though it's uncomfortable and messy and gross and painful. It's like, how can we be more immersive in our life and more connected to it, even in the uncomfortable parts? Because we don't need to have a life that exists only in happiness. We want to have a life that feels really truthful to our experience, because not everything is rainbows and sunshine. Some things are really challenging and really hard, and this might be a hard week for you. For me, I have really bad periods. They're heavy, they're painful. It's not fun at all. But I have tried to find snippets of hope in how creative and inspired I feel by just being present, being here in the moment. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. It's just taking those little bite-sized pieces and trying to kind of just become more present and conscious in the situation that you're experiencing in this time, because our divine feminine energy is like oozing through us. It is pouring out of us, literally, not just figuratively, literally. It is like coming out of us. So what can we harness and tap into in this time? Where can we see more growth and expansion with ourselves when we start to connect with what's going on and where we're really at? So that's kind of the message that was on my heart today that I wanted to share with you. I'm really feeling all of the different cycles in the female month. It's feeling very like tuned into how I'm living, and I want to share more of that with you and educate you more on just how we can tune into ourselves and be more connected to our divine feminine energy, because it's so powerful and so beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast episode. If you're wanting to learn more, for sure, let me know in the comments. Send me a message, share this podcast with anyone who might benefit from this topic. And of course, check out my link for Natural Cycles down below in the show notes. You can get a discount code there and check it out. The app is amazing. It has been such a game changer for me in managing my cycle, supporting it, understanding my body. So go check that out if you feel called to. And of course, follow me over on social media, connect with me. Links are all down below. Instagram is where I live 99% of the time. And of course, be sure that you're liking this podcast and sharing it wherever you see fit. Share it with your people. And with all of that said, I will see you guys on the next episode of the Discover You podcast. Thanks so much. Bye.